Hello folks, this is Sula speaking. You're listening to another video for Teamfight Tactics. This is another game taken from the public beta environment, the PBE server. And in this game, we're going to be looking at another team composition that I haven't had a chance to showcase yet. This time we're going to be looking at a Sureshot team composition, one that plays ultimately into Aphelios. Now this is a setup that I was hoping that I'd be able to get. I really was hoping that I could showcase another one of these attack damage focused setups, but I had tried playing this comp a couple different times and finally was able to get a game that had footage that I liked. Alright, well, one other thing you're going to see is, again, the advantage of playing on the public beta environment is you do get infinite riot points to spend, so I will also get a chance to showcase the Star Guardians Arena. That is one of the featured new things that they've added in this set. It's pretty cool. I definitely would not spend actual money to get this, but if you can spend infinite amounts of riot points for free, then it can be worth testing out. It's like this school classroom playing into the Star Guardians theme. It has its own music, which you probably can't hear that well because I'm talking. I'll shut up for a second to let people listen. Anyway, so it has like the Star Guardians music that they've used, and it changes throughout the game. It starts out all lit up, and then it like turns to sunset and then to night as the match goes on. I mean, all nice features, but I I wouldn't pay the money that it's required to get this. So to each their own, though. Maybe to you that's worth getting. It is currently a 2% drop rate on the whatever orb you can get that contains this. I had to open about 45 orbs to get it, so I think this would have cost like $100 in real world terms, and yeah, not worth it. But again, when you've got infinite money to play around with, then why not? Alright, so far in this game, I have not really been hitting all that much. I was hoping that I could try to play into this Sureshot team composition. Was trying to force it to some extent. I've been taking defensive items off the starting carousel, but there weren't defensive items on this one. We ended up getting one of the offensive starting items carousel. So I took a sword, because if you're going to play into this setup, you do want swords, the item that you would want to get. And so along with the glove, I can make an early Infinity Edge. And then look at this. Ooh, it's going to be a prismatic augment. I was like, all right, I guess I can take good old cybernetics. Cybernetics is going to be pretty good for team composition that wants to play into physical damage. I took the one that gives me attack damage for units that hold an item. Also, as far as what I've got in the store here, so the problem is I don't really have any Sureshot units. And this is a team composition that doesn't really have early game Sureshot units either. So I'm going to have to play my way into this team composition by playing units that do not have the traits that I want, in order to serve as placeholders up until I do get the champs that I want. So I was going to look to potentially play a mascot frontline here, but I see there's a Jax in the store, and Jax is going to be better for frontline than Galio and Nasus, who, if they're not 2-starred, are not very strong frontliners at all. So I'm going to switch over to Brawler frontliner for now, and I've just got kind of this random Duelist plus Brawler setup here. I'm pretty confident I'm not going to win this round. Oh, by the way, listen to this music that plays in the background. This was some pop-up. There was, I had a window open. Yeah, I'm going to tab out for a second to shut this. I had a window open for LOL Chess where they had some of the different team compositions on the PBE, and I was trying to look at them during the game. But then this stupid pop-up ad started playing music, so I just tabbed out to close that. So that was pretty annoying. Anyway, there's actually double Lee Sins here. I should probably just pick up the Lee Sins, because if I were to hit early Lee Sin 2-star, that would be nice. I also note that there's a Kai'Sa and an Ezreal here, and I was like, okay, well, I think that Kai'Sa Ezreal will be better units to play than if I were to stick with the Kayle and the Fiora. I think that that's a little bit better. So I'll just go ahead and put these items on Kai'Sa for right now. Not great items on Kai'Sa. Kai'Sa's traits are Recon plus Star Guardian. She deals magic damage, so the Infinity Edge is not exactly a great item on her. But I do want to mention, I said this in the last video I did, the items have changed a little bit here in Set 8. And Infinity Edge now allows all abilities to crit. Basically, Infinity Edge and Jeweled Gauntlet basically do the same thing. They allow abilities to crit, and then they just give kind of different base stats. Infinity Edge gives physical damage, and Jeweled Gauntlet gives magic damage. But they both allow abilities to crit, so you can go ahead and stick the Infinity Edge on a unit that deals magic damage, like Kai'Sa. It will allow her spells to crit Also, physical damage abilities do not innately crit anymore. It used to be the case that any physical damage could just crit automatically. Not the case anymore. Physical abilities do not crit unless you have Infinity Edge or Jeweled Gauntlet. So this is a nice item to put on any physical damage dealer. And it's not terrible for Kaisa because it will allow her magic damage, her plasma, to crit as well. Still, not quite. These are still not the units I'm looking for. I would much prefer to be having some kind of physical damage dealer in the back row. I'd actually be pretty happy if I could play... I would actually be happy playing something like Ashe, because Ashe does deal physical damage like this person has on their board, or something like that. I'm really looking for Sivir, who's the early Sureshot unit, but not going to find her. Have not found her yet in this game, so Kai'Sa's going to hold the items, and I'm not exactly expecting to beat people who have legitimate boards. Still, I did manage to hit Renekton 2 stars, so that's something. Getting the early Renekton is nice. And so now what I'd really like to get is some kind of defensive item so that I can put it on Renekton, and so he will get the Cybernetics benefit. So he will also get some additional health and some additional attack damage. All right, well, I am... What is it? I lost the first round, won the second round, lost the third round. Unfortunately, I have lost the tiebreaker on 92 HP, which is a little bit sad. So I'm going to get a slightly delayed chance to pick here. One thing I could try to get is the rod that would allow me to make a Rage Blade. But again, as I said, it is more important for me to get a defensive item here, so I can stick it on Renekton. He'll get the health benefit and then from the belt, and then another health benefit from the Cybernetics augment that I picked up here. By the way, I could have had Lee Sin 2-star. I was like, that could have been Lee Sin 2-star if I just picked up those earlier Lees, but I didn't have enough gold to purchase both of them, so I didn't end up purchasing either of them. And I'm not going to want to buy it now, because if I do that, I'm going to go below 10 gold, and I don't want to go below 10 gold in the shop. So I'm going to toss Galio on the board. Galio has Civilian Trait, and I should mention this. I don't think I've talked about Civilian Trait in any of the games that I've done, so I will read the description here. Civilian, if there's a civilian alive, your team is inspired to protect them by gaining mana every 2 seconds. At Civilian 1, you gain 2 mana per second on all your units, but only so long as the civilian units are alive. If Galio dies, then we lose that benefit, because there would be no civilian units alive anymore. Yeah, Past Me is helpfully highlighting this trait. One thing that I've noticed is people who play into the Aphelios team composition often play 3 civilian, and I'm going to have the chance to test that out in this game. Now, one of the things that I could have done is I could have actually looked to play into Underground in this game. I had the early Kayle, and then I found this Ezreal, so I could have just held the Kayle potentially and looked to play that. By the way, I'm going to toss a Cho'Gath on the board because Cho is a better frontliner than... Cho 1-star is better frontliner than 1-star Galio, and Civilian 1 does not really provide very much of a benefit. So anyway, I could have looked to hold the Kayle and then potentially looked to play Underground. In particular, if I had been able to find an early Vi, I could have played Vi plus Kayle plus Ezreal, and that would get me 3 Underground. Quite a few people are playing Underground in this lobby. I'm actually very, very concerned because people like this, the person I'm up against, I believe has 5 Underground in already. They pulled an Underground emblem from Tome of Traits. They've already found Kayle plus Vi plus Ezreal plus Sonus. They already have 5 Underground in at the end of Stage 2, and that is very, very dangerous for the rest of the lobby. Underground, if you're unfamiliar with it, is this set's version of the economic trait. It is like pirates or mercenaries from past sets. Basically, it does not provide any in-combat advantage. By the way, there's a Sonus, so yeah, I definitely could have looked to play in Underground, but I held off on doing so. Instead, I managed to find Sivir, who I'll talk more about in a minute, because Sivir is a unit I actually want to play in this team composition. Anyway, though, to get back to our point, Underground is the economic trait. Basically, after it does not provide any in-combat advantage, after each round with Underground units in play, the Underground trait will unlock certain locks, is what they're referred to. And if you get up to 10 locks, then you will get a reward. You can then choose to keep the heist going, or you can cash out with the first heist, or you can keep going longer. And the rewards get bigger and bigger and bigger as long as it goes on. The good news for people like me who do not look to play into these economic traits very often is that they have nerfed the trait a little bit. It was way too strong on the public beta environment. They have nerfed a bunch of the Underground units. One of the problems is a bunch of the Underground units were really strong, so you weren't really weakening yourself much by playing them. But they weakened some of these units, and in addition to that, oh, by the way, I'm going to reforge this tier because I don't really need a tier. And then I get a belt, and I was like, oh, I could have had a Warmugs here. Why? Why in the world didn't I reforge and then decide what item I was going to make? So Sunfire, not bad on Renekton, but I would have preferred Warmugs plus Vest over the Sunfire, just because Renekton's a brawler, and Warmugs amplifies how much health he gets from the brawler's trait. But anyway, yeah, so Underground trait was way too strong. The Underground units themselves were good units, so playing them was not much of a disadvantage. And it was relatively easy for people to get up to like 3 heists or 4 heists. And at 4 heists, you're getting like Tactician's Crowns and multiple Radiant items. And then people would just play Underground all through the early game and then cash out their heist and just be like unbeatable. Also, it's PBE, so people don't really care if they fail to cash out and end up dying because it's just PBE. All right, anyway, so we get another Prismatic Augment. I was like, oh my god. And Level Up is an option here. So I'm going to go ahead and take Level Up. It's actually a really good option for what I'm playing in this game. So I'm hoping to play into Aphelios. And the best way to find Aphelios is to get to level 9. So Level Up is going to help me get there. Now, Level Up, of course, has no in-combat advantage as well either. It's another economic augment. But I still feel like this is my best option in terms of what I can do to hopefully get to this unit long term. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to preserve health as much as possible. My goal is to try to survive, get to level 9, find Aphelios, and in order to do that, I'm going to try to make use of my actual augment that does provide in-combat benefit, which is Cybernetic Implants. So I'm going to lean very heavily on that. You can see I've got the Sunfire Cape on Renekton, so he'll get the Cybernetic benefit. Now I'm going to toss this other belt I have on Jax, so he will now also get the Cybernetics benefit. And I'm going to put the sword on Sivir, so that she also gets the benefit as well. So I'm trying to spread out my items to some extent in order to get the benefit of this. Now, it's not going to do much in this round. Unfortunately, I'm up against the win-streaking player. This person has built different, so yeah, Prismatic built different. You're probably not going to beat that in the early game. Just way too many stats that the people get from playing that. And so I'm going to lose this round. And unfortunately, I'm on 29 gold, but I don't want to sell any of the units on my bench because I'm going to look to play Galio later. And I'm probably going to look to play Vi later as well because she's the brawler that gives the Aegis trait, or Aegis trait. We had some disagreement in my comments about how to pronounce that in the last video I did. So I still don't really know how you're supposed to pronounce that, but oh well. Anyway, so I do have the option to play Ashe here. You can see I hovered the mouse cursor, but I was like, no, I'll stick with the Kaisa for right now. She's a much better unit than Ashe. The one unit I do want to cover, though, is Sivir. So let's take a minute here to cover her. Sivir is typically going to be the early game item holder in a Sureshot team composition. Her traits are Civilian and Sureshot, so she also gives the Civilian mana generation benefit. Ability is called Pizza Delivery, which is kind of funny. Sivir throws her pizza at the target, dealing physical damage. It then splits into slices and gets delivered to the nearest allies, healing them. So she basically is like kind of a mixed AD plus support unit. She does deal physical damage, so the sword is not wasted on her. The Cybernetics benefit is not wasted. When she uses her ability, she deals physical damage. Right now, the pizza is 400% of attack damage, and then it heals some allies. The healing is pretty small, honestly. Right now, it is heals for 80 health when she tosses the pizza. So 80 health, 80 health, 80 health to the 3 allies she serves the pizza to. So she's not a great long-term carry overall, but she is a unit that you can play in like the early and mid game. And then she typically will either be swapped out, or she's a unit that you'll look to transfer items off of long-term. I mean, like maybe she holds like a Zeke's or something, but she's not a unit you want to have like a bunch of carry items on. Okay, so here I did think about taking the Rod to get a Rage Blade. Rage Blade would definitely improve Kai'Sa's damage by quite a bit. However, there's the option to take a Belt, and I'm pretty happy with taking the Belt because that'll allow me to make a Warmogs on Jax, and it's going to make him much tankier. He probably gets about, well, and I also, by the way, get a great shop here. I hit the 2-star Jax and the 2-star Sivir. So this is going to go a long way to making me stronger. Jax is now probably about 3 times tankier than he was before. Anyway, now I'm going to toss in the Vi, and I believe, yeah, I go ahead and take out the Galio in order to play Echo, because Echo will give me the magic resistance from the Aegis trait. We'll have to figure out how to say that at some point. I don't know which one of those is more proper. But I hit 2-star Sivir, so that's going to increase their damage by a good bit. And I hit 2-star Jax, and that increases his tankiness by a massive amount, as I just said. Probably like triples how tanky he is. With that Warmogs and the Brawler's innate benefit, he's going to have just an absurd amount of health. This is kind of an unusual situation. Normally people, when they're playing Jax, they're playing him for his carry potential. He's in a mech team competition. People are looking to put, you know, stuff like Bloodthirster or Rageblade or Titan's Resolve on him. But I'm just playing him as a pure tank here. Brawler's trait gives 20% additional health. So the health from the Warmogs and the health from being a 2-star unit is going to get amplified. And so I think he's up around like 3,000 health right now. And it just takes a long time to chew through that much HP. I also went to level 7 fairly early. I thought it made sense to go to level 7 because it's so cheap to level up with my augment, the level up augment. It means that I buy XP, can trade 4 gold for 7 XP instead of the normal 4 gold for 4 XP. So I look to go to level 7 fairly quickly, and now I'm going to look to go to level 8 fairly quickly as well. But, you know, I don't want to go down to like 10 gold, but if I can drop down to like 20 gold, that's probably okay if it gets me up to level 7. Because, again, the big thing is I need to preserve health. I need to make sure I'm not losing too much health here in the mid-game. If I'm too weak in the mid-game, I'm never going to be able to get to level 9. So it makes sense to level early, level somewhat aggressively, so that I can actually win some of these rounds instead of losing them. Like right here, I'm up against one of the Underground players again. There's like 3 people playing Underground in this lobby. I'm hoping that I can hit them before they cash out and their boards become super strong. But I guess we'll just have to wait and see what happens there. I feel like I'm kind of stable-ish, at least against everybody other than these top 2 comps. So one of the top 2 comps just lost, the person playing the Duelist board. So that's good news for us. Not great news for us that someone in the lobby is win streaking on 100 HP. That is the built different player. So again, I'm actually on 2 out of 3 Underground, so I could potentially look to buy this Sona and put her in the team competition. But I'd have to take out Echo to do that. Maybe that would have been better to take out Echo and play Sona for Underground. But it was already we're about to go into stage 4. I feel like the time to play Underground is kind of already passed. I guess I could also look to sell the Kaisa. That actually might not be a bad idea either. What I'm really hoping for is I'd really like to find a Samira. Samira is also an Underground unit. She's also a Sureshot unit. And I could also get an Underground if I could find her, but no, I haven't been finding her, unfortunately. So I've still got this Kaisa holding items for me, which is kind of weird. And then here, I'm going to go ahead and grab Riven and toss her on the board because Riven is going to go ahead and make 4 Brawlers. That's going to amplify Jack's health even more. And then I was like, I've got this leftover cloak. I should just toss this on a unit that's going to come out of the team composition. And I was like, I think it's Riven who comes out. I think Echo actually stays in the team composition. So I believe that I end up putting this random cloak on Riven long term, just because she's probably going to get sold, and that would give her the cybernetics benefit as well. Or I guess I decided to wait another round and see what the last augment is. Anyway, though, so the biggest advantage on my board right now is just I've got this tanky front line. The Jax just has so much health he takes forever to kill. And Renekton does have the Sunfire Cape as well, so he's applying that burn effect to the rest of the team. I feel like my backline is not particularly impressive. I guess I have a 2-star Sivir, but like 1-star Kaisa, 1-star Ezreal is not terribly impressive. Still, if you have a strong front line, your team can usually hang in there in these fights. And that's really what I've been emphasizing in these games. I've had much more success in my PBE games since I started focusing on that. Oh, by the way, look at this. Oh, there's actually a Janna here. Oh my goodness. So we've got the last augment is a champion augment, and I actually end up finding a Janna in there. So that's fantastic. Janna is a unit that I want to play in this team composition anyway, and the augment is the one that doubles the effects of her ability. So Janna has 3 different abilities. I think I've had her in a couple of videos, but worth mentioning what she does here again. So she has the Forecaster trait, which means at the start of the combat, Forecaster champions grant adjacent allies different buff depending on the current weather, which changes every day. So you get 3 different options: sunny weather, windy weather, rainy weather. Sunny weather gives a health shield to adjacent allies. Windy weather grants bonus attack damage and ability power, which increases every 5 seconds. This game we have rainy weather, which is generally perceived as being the weakest of the 3. Rainy weather is at the start of combat, Forecaster champions grant adjacent allies 20 mana at 1 star, 40 mana at 2 stars, until they have cast 1 spell. So this benefit gets doubled. So right now, Janna is giving nearby allies 40 mana at the start of combat. If I can 2-star her, she'll grant 80 mana to nearby allies. Again, not bad. It causes units to cast very frequently, a bit like Silco from back in set 6.5. But I would definitely prefer the others. I actually really, really like the Sunny Weather, which would give everybody a shield that stands next to her. But we don't have Sunny Weather for this game, unfortunately. The Sunny Weather would grant everyone a 800 health shield for 10 seconds. Yeah, that would be pretty nice. That would make me even tankier. Good news is I have managed to find Samira, so I'm definitely going to move out of the... I actually find 2 Samiras here. I'm going to move out of the Kaisa finally. And now I can actually get the Sureshot trait in play. So let's cover for a minute before we get to the carousel here. What does the Sureshot trait actually do? So it's a new trait for this set, as not a reprint from past sets. Very simple trait. Combat start, gain bonus attack damage now and every 4 seconds. So currently, Sureshot 2 is you get 10% attack damage, which is basically equivalent to 10 AD from the past sets. And then Sureshot 4 is 20%. It just doubles the benefit from 10% to 20%. And so that's a stacking trait throughout the fight. Every 4 seconds, your units get that. There's actually a little visual indicator when the units get that additional Sureshot benefit. So yeah, your units are going to get stronger over the course of the fight, and they're just going to get more and more and more AD. So this is very much a late game trait because it doesn't really have much in the way of cheap units. You have a 2-cost Sivir, a 3-cost Senna, who we have not seen in this game yet, a 4-cost Samira, and then a 5-cost in Aphelios. So it's one of those traits that caps out very strongly at the end of the game, but is kind of hard to get there, so you often have to play non-Sureshot units. Like, maybe you'll get lucky in some game and you'll just hit 2-star Senna very early, and she can just be the item holder, but more commonly that's not going to happen. Alright, so in terms of this carousel, I could opt to take another AD item, but instead I see that I've got this cloak on the bench, and I can take a vest, and that's going to allow me to make a Gargoyle Stone Plate. So I'm really getting very, very, very good tank items here. I'm going to hope to put all of these items on one unit down the road, and the unit that I really want to put them on is Zac. Zac is a threat, so he does not have any traits himself, but he plays very nicely into team comps that just want a very tanky frontliner, and don't necessarily have traits to play through. So some team compositions want to play through certain traits. Like if you're playing mech, you probably want to play brawlers because Jax is a brawler. If you're going to be playing into, what's another team composition? If you're playing Star Guardians, you probably want to get at least some Aegis and Defender because you've got Echo, who has Aegis trait, and you've got Rel, who has Defender trait. So like certain team comps generally want to build into some kind of traits. But the Aphelios team composition doesn't really have any traits in particular it has to play into. If anything, it has some lean towards the mascot trait because you'd like to be able to play into 3 civilian long term. But you can slot Zac in just fine, and like he'll be able to serve as like the primary tank quite well. So that's what I'm hoping to do in this game. Anyway, I have made some changes to my setup here. I have an Alistar on the board because I am playing into mascot trait. I've also gone up to 3 civilian. And so 3 civilian just increases the benefit significantly. I actually have downgraded my board in terms of tankiness by putting all the items on Jax, but again, I have not managed to find a Zac just yet. To get back to my point though, the civilian trait, I mentioned how it generates mana so long as 1 civilian unit's alive, so it just need to keep either Janna or Sivir alive. And there's a big spike with civilian trait when you get up to civilian 3. Right now, civilian 1 is 2 mana generation, civilian 2 is 4 mana, but Civilian 3 is 10 mana, so it's 2.5 times the benefit of Civilian 2, and it's actually 5 times the benefit of Civilian 1. So, and that's pretty significant, though. Every 2 seconds, is it 2 seconds? Is it 2 seconds or 4 seconds? It's every, I know I just read this, but I can't remember. It's every 2 seconds. So every 2 seconds, you're getting 10 additional mana. That's a pretty big deal. Now, not enough to help me in that round. I just get plowed over by somebody who's already level 9. And they already have 2-star Leona. I think they have 2-star Urgot. That's one of the underground players that cashed out and just got a ton of money. So I need to go to level 9. The good news is with level up trait, level up augment, it is cheap to get there. So I'll be able to go level 9 after this minion round. And then I need to roll down and I just need to hit. I really need to hit Aphelios. If I can't hit Aphelios, probably going to die. But we'll see what happens. I have found 1 Zac. So I'm hoping the plan is to sell the Jax, transfer these items over to Zac, hoping that I can hit Zac 2-star, and then we'll just try to get a tanky frontline, and then find Aphelios, and then ideally we'd like to get up to 4 Swift-Shot, Sureshot, not Swift-Shot, Sureshot, and we'll see what we're able to get here. I also have an anvil to pull, so I have my option of a couple different things. I'm going to take this bow, and we're going to make Giant Slayer for our last item there. All right, so there we go, level 9. Now we're going to roll it down. I need Aphelios. It's like, come on, can I find Aphelios? I am finding some other expensive units. I am going to find another Janna. Janna 2-star would be nice. It's like, all right, I already have 2-star Vi. Where is Aphelios, though? That's the unit I most need to hit. I absolutely have to find this unit. Oh, come on, there's another Echo. I might as well play that. And there we go, there's Aphelios. Okay, so we got to get him on the board. And then I have to select his gun. I'm going to take Onslaught out of the options. I'll talk more about his guns in a minute. And now we finally have Aphelios on the board. And I'm going to go ahead and make his last item. I have all the items on Sivir, so I have to sell Sivir and transfer the items over. I also then will want to find another Sivir. I would have held one if I had the option, but I did not have the option. I have not found another Sivir. So hopefully we'll be able to find her and she can come back so we can get 3 civilian back in play. But this fight does not go very well either. So the good news is we found Aphelios, but that's not quite enough to stabilize our board. I really need to find another one because I have a champion duplicator. If I can find one more Aphelios, I can use the champion duplicator. Still, we're hitting some good stuff here. So we need to sell the Sivir so we can transfer the items. And we're going to hit 2-star Sedge, so we definitely need to put that on the board. That'll give me some more tankiness. I'm like, come on, one more. There's actually a Senna here I went by. I should have picked up the Senna. I'm like, come on. I need another. Oh, and there it is. There it is. Okay, so we got to duplicate it. Don't click on the Echo. Make sure we're clicking on the Aphelios here. And look at this. Now we got 2-star Aphelios with very, very good Aphelios items. And we're going to put the Cloak on Sejuani so she gets the Cybernetics benefit. And now our board is looking pretty strong here. So Arsenal, Forecaster, those are the unique traits of Aphelios and Janna. 3 Aegis for the magic resistance, 2 Civilian, 2 Mascot, 2 Brawler, 2 Sureshot, 2 Ox Force, 1 Ace, and 1 Threat. Now our board is looking pretty solid here. That's because we have a real carry unit. For the first time all game, I have an actual damage dealer in the back lines, and that is the Aphelios. And wow, hey, we just cut right through that board. It's almost like hitting a 2-star 5 cost. Spikes your board really, really hard. And I'm going to sell the Mordekaiser because I don't see any way that I play Mord in this particular team composition. I will pick him up, though, just because it makes it a little bit easier to hit certain 5 costs. So we're rolling down. All right, there is a Senna there, which, again, I keep going past these Sennas. I also maybe could have looked to go for. And there we go. There's the Janna. All right, so that is a big hit with the Janna. Now she's going to provide 80 mana to units that stand next to her. 80 mana. That's a lot. That's going to cause a lot of these units to get their abilities to go off right away. And I believe that includes Aphelios. What is his mana cost? His mana cost, oh, he needs 100 mana to get his cast off. His mana is 140 right now, and he starts with 40 mana, so he starts at 40 out of 140. So yeah, so that's going to cause Aphelios to cast almost instantly at the start of the fight, and that is a very, very big deal indeed. This is like having a Super Silco. It grants 80 mana to units next to them. So again, I think I would have preferred sunny weather or cloudy weather, but the rainy weather is not bad, especially with this Janna augment that's giving me double the benefit from her ability. All right, so we're going to cut through that team. And yeah, all of a sudden my board spiked super duper hard, thanks to having the champion duplicator and level up so I could get to level 9 quickly. All right, so we've got the option to take another item here. There's some good stuff. Like, obviously, I'm going to go ahead and take the Shroud of Stillness here. There's nothing else I need that badly. There's an Ox Force emblem, but I don't think I'm getting up to... I don't think I'm going to get to 4 Ox Force here. I don't think there's any units I'd want to take out. Actually, the Ox Force emblem might have been pretty good as well. Could have put that on, I don't know, Vi or Echo or somebody. That would not have been terrible. But Shroud of Stillness is quite good. It'll give a unit the Cybernetics benefit. And, I mean, late-game Shrouds are always good to have. By the way, I finally realized there's a Senna in the store and picked this up. So now I would like to get up to... What is it? I'm going to put Sivir back on the board. That's right. And I'm trying to see if there's any way I can play Echo on here, but I don't think there is. I do find another Zac. I really want to hit Zac 2-star. So yeah, I end up selling the Echoes. And now I would very much like to get Senna on the board, but there's not really any way I can get her on the board with my current setup right now. So yeah, I would like that unit, but can't get it. And I also really want to find Zac. All right, well, now that we have a minute here, by the way, I misplaced the Shroud of Stillness. Don't actually get the Shroud off in this fight. Let's cover what Aphelios actually does. So he has a unique trait, Arsenal, which causes him to be able to choose one of 3 different guns. And you can choose this when you put him on the board. You get tasked with picking which of his 3 guns. But you can change this. You just have to put him on your bench and put him back on the board again. So you can change which of the 3 guns he's going to be using. I don't have a great sense this early in the game for what guns he should be using. The main thing that I've heard, though, is that one of them does the most damage, and that's Onslaught. So I just picked Onslaught because it does the most damage. That description is, Aphelios enters an Onslaught for 1.75 seconds, automatically performs 6 attacks, dealing physical damage to each enemy. So Onslaught just does a ton of damage, basically, to nearby enemies. He also has one Binding Eclipse that causes him to stun. And the basic idea is that one's really good if he is not the carry unit. If you're just playing him as like a support unit, then that's a really good one. So, and then the other one is Dusk Wave, which I don't really have a good sense for when you would want to run that one, because it's still very early in the set. His other traits, we've already mentioned Sureshot, that Sureshot increases his attack damage every 4 seconds. And then his other ability is Ox Force. So that is the trait that has gotten most attention in this set, at least so far, because it's on Alistar and Annie. It's the one that causes them to be invulnerable for about a second when they hit 0 HP. And it's been seen as being kind of abusive when playing into Annie as a frontline. But it also applies to Aphelios as well, so he'll become invincible for like 1 second when he gets down to low HP. And the other thing that it does, though, is it does increase attack speed as well, which is quite nice for someone like Aphelios. Ox Speed 2 is you start with 20% bonus attack speed, and then as you drop in health, it goes up to 40% bonus attack speed. Ox Force 4 actually increases that by a lot. Right now, it's 50% going up to 100%. So maybe I should have taken the Ox Force emblem and then just looked to put another Ox Force unit in play. That could have been a potential path as well. I could have put the Ox Force emblem on Samira, and then I would just needed one more Ox Force unit to get on the board here. So that actually might have been very, very strong. Although I don't know what other Ox Force unit I would play. Probably Viego, just because he's got... he's probably the best option as a 4-cost unit, but oh well. Did not end up going that route. All right, so we're going to get another anvil here, and out of the different options, I could take another frontline option. So like it would not be bad at all to put the Zerat portal on Vi. That would give me more frontline. And by the way, look at all these Aphelioses. Now I'm getting Aphelioses out the wazoo. But I finally hit 2-star Zac, which is big. Still, my decision is I wanted to get some kind of item on Samira. So I'm going to take the Hand of Justice, put it on Samira. This is going to give her the Cybernetics benefit as well. And so this is going to mean that she will deal significantly more damage than she was before. All right, we're up against the Built Different player who actually has taken an Aphelios champion emblem or a champion augment, but is not playing Aphelios. It's like, wait a minute, what? What is this person doing? So I actually figured out what happened here. This person was trying to play into 4 aces. That's the one trait they have. And I think that they took the Aphelios thinking that they could pair Aphelios. They could make use of Aphelios. And then they realized, oh, wait a minute. If we're playing 4 aces, Samira has the ace trait. And if you play Samira plus Aphelios, that's Sureshot. So you can't play both 4 aces and also play Samira plus Aphelios. So I think they just made a mistake because it was early in the set and took the wrong champion augment. I think they got confused there. All right, so anyway, I rolled this down. I hit the Samira, and then I just continue rolling here. I make a huge mistake, one that fortunately I am not punished on, but a huge mistake nonetheless. I forgot that Level Up Augment lets you go to level 10. So the play here is go to level 10 and put in Senna, because Senna will give me 4 Sureshot, and that is 100% the play here. I just completely forgot that you could do that. So I'm just like, la-di-da, I've got this money, I don't know what to do with it, la-di-da, I guess I'll just roll, and maybe I can like hit Leona 2-star, and then I'd try to get Leona in here. Maybe I'd take out the Vi. Would probably take out Vi for Leona. But it's like, hey buddy, why are you just rolling? Your whole board is 2-starred. You should go to level 10 and then put in Senna, and then you get 4 Sureshot. And that increases the benefit from the Sureshot trait. It doubles it. Instead of 10% AD every 4 seconds, you get 20% AD every 4 seconds. So that was a mistake. I totally forgot that the augment worked like this. Whoops. So instead I'm just kind of like wasting money here, not doing anything as I go through these rounds. And like my board is not getting any stronger here, which is never a good idea. Anyway, I did want to cover one other unit here, and that is Zac, who I have not had a chance to talk about. I have not been playing Zac too much, but I think he's one of the more useful threats. So as a threat, Zac has no traits, and that makes him very splashable into any team comps. And his specific role is he provides frontline. He's a very, very good tank. So his ability is costs 100 mana. It's called Symbiotic Split. The active is Zac bounces into the air and slams down, dealing magic damage. Then he heals 20% of his missing health. He also has a passive where, upon dying, he splits into smaller Zac blobs with a percent of Zac's maximum health that taunts nearby enemies. So Zac is a really good frontline tank. In particular, if you can put Warmogs on him, he's going to be soaking up lots of damage. Every time he uses his ability, he's going to get 20% of his maximum health back. And then even if he dies, I'm making the finger quotes here, which you can't see because this is a video. If he dies, then he creates smaller blobs that then taunt all the enemies. And each of the smaller blobs is 40% of Zach's health as well. So he's just a really, really good tank. And he's particularly good with team compositions that don't need a particular trait. As I said, teams that don't need like brawlers or defender trait or whatever. He's great to slot into teams that don't particularly need one trait. Now, we're getting to the end of the game here. There's only one other team still left, and it's the Built Different player from earlier in the game. Built Different does fall off in the late game. Now, they're playing 4 aces, but Built Different does fall off, and of course, Built Different trait is not applying to any of those aces. 4 aces is another late game trait that's really, really strong at the end of the game. It's basically Ninja's trait from earlier in sets. You only get the benefit if you have 1 ace or 4. Having 2 aces or 3 aces doesn't work. So again, it's like Ninja trait from some of the earlier sets. So the benefit is it's an execute. It executes units that are on low HP. And Ace 1 is execute enemies under 12% health. Ace 4 is execute enemies under 30% health. So very, very strong. Also strong because of it's very expensive units that make up this trait. Draven, 2 cost. Misfortune, 4 cost. Samira, 4 cost. Mordekaiser, 5 cost. So if you can get an Ace emblem, you can play a really, really strong late game board. Like if you drop Draven and put an Ace emblem on Aphelios, you can have Misfortune, Samira, Aphelios, Mordekaiser all executing enemies under 30% health. That is ridiculously strong. Anyway, so the most dangerous unit here is the Mordekaiser, 2-star Mordekaiser. That's the unit I'm worried about. You may have noticed I took a belt off the last carousel just so I could make a Zephyr. So I'm going to Zephyr the Mordekaiser and Shroud the Mordekaiser. His ability hits the whole board, or almost the whole board, and it's going to be an execute. So I just want to stop Ward from casting. This is like, Mordekaiser, you are not going to get to cast in this fight. At least not until the fight's already all the way over. Okay, so he does get the cast off, but again, the fight's already over before he casts. And so that's going to allow me to win this. And hey, I actually ended this match by winning 9 rounds in a row. As soon as I got Aphelios 2-star, that was just basically it. Aphelios 2-star with a Janna 2-star pumping up so he casts instantly turns out to be pretty freaking strong. So I was very happy with how this game came together. Everything except the fact that I forgot that you can go to level 10 with level up. If I had just remembered that I could do that and then played the Senna, that would have been like an awesome, awesome board. But I'm still pretty happy with how this worked out. So yeah, come on, loading screen. Come on, there we go. Finally managed to get this to go through. So this is a bit of a tricky trait to play because it's so late game focused, but if you can make it there, then it is very strong. Anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed this video. Until next time, take care, folks.